Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Lennon. I'm the President and CEO of SanDirect. Thank you for joining us today in the latest installment of Talking Tech with SanDirect. These Talking Tech series are produced every 2 to 4 weeks, and we focus on new technologies, products, and trends in the storage and security industry. Today, we're focused on virtualization, and we have brought in Pat Novak, a solution consultant with Hitachi Data Systems. Before we bring in Pat, just a quick note on who we are at SanDirect. SanDirect is a company that has focused on storage and security for the last 23 years. We go to market virtually, which means all of our storage and security architects are online and available on the phone. And when you guys pick up the phone to call us, we'll be there to immediately start talking about solutions and issues that you might have around storage and security. So we're only a phone call away from really getting into the nuts and bolts of the problems that you have around your storage and security needs, and we can help you out pretty much at a moment's notice. With that, I'll bring in Pat. Pat, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So I'm excited to be part of this afternoon. What I want to talk about here for the next half hour or so is the introduction to Hitachi latest mid-range storage product line that involves virtualization and other features that you're going to see here. So I'm going to sit over here. I'll be off camera, and we'll just pay attention to the PowerPoint. I think we all understand kind of what the challenges are today of the IT industry, and that is too much information, always explosion, 24/7 expectations, too much complexity, and the continually rising costs that businesses today are trying to deal with. And all too often, what we hear when we go into accounts and opportunities is that businesses don't want to be in the business of IT anymore. They want to be in the business of running their business. Hitachi has taken that into account, and along with this development of the third platform that has been defined from IDC and other analysts, the third platform is getting to the point where you're looking at software-defined infrastructures, less reliancy on hardware that is proprietary and captive in nature. From an HGS perspective, we have a software-defined infrastructure strategy that you see here on this particular slide. And we'd like to point out that we've got this boiled down kind of into 3 different areas. The abstraction layer, the access, and the automate layer. I'm going to explain these just a little bit here going forward. From an abstraction layer, what we're looking here is talking about hyper-converged and converged systems, which is the pendulum is swinging back around to dedicated resources for dedicated applications, i.e. cloud 24/7, and applications are driving revenue. What we're going to focus in on detail today is the center layer here called the access layer, which what we're talking about is Hitachi is a provider of one platform for all data, and we have been for about 30 years or more. That kind of access that we're talking about is file-related data, traditional block-related data, newly kind of emerging object-based repositories, and APIs that link you to other things such as S3 and cloud protocols. While being able to automate this process, automation is huge. Automation equals less manpower, equals more time to be productive, and drives that 24/7 economy that we're talking about. And really what that all plays up to is what you see in the top layer there are the application of the software-based environments that are starting to permeate the market, that are driving the market. Things such as VMware, obviously, Microsoft with Hyper-Converge, Hadoop, Pentaho, who we just purchased, and the purchase was finalized there. Pentaho is an analytic-based software that does data scrubbing for you. So, as I mentioned, Hitachi has been in the business for storage for a very long time, multiple decades. And we've always had, quote unquote, the #1 type of class array for the enterprise, starting with the USPV, USP, VSP previous generation, and the VSP G1000 today. That is enterprise class hardware, software, and approach to your data protection and data serving. What we're going to talk about today is bringing enterprise class features and capabilities across our product line when it comes to storage. That product line that we introduced and announced in March and made available in April is all considered the VSP product line today. So from entry to enterprise, we have the following storage models. The G200, which is entry, the G400, the G600, the G800, and as I mentioned earlier, the VSP G1000, which is the enterprise class storage array. The big game changer here is the commonality of OS across all of the storage product line and fully supported by a single pane class that are represented by Hitachi Command Suite. So think of a common operating system which would cut down the time to train, to learn, and be able to provide those features regardless of the platform. As I mentioned earlier on, Hitachi's statement has been for a while, one platform for all data. And what you see here is a visualization of some of the features and capabilities that are within the operating system that's available across all of our storage product line. I'm going to hit on some of these things individually going forward. Let's start off by talking about virtualization. So what makes this here common is our new storage virtualization operating system, which you see there on the bottom. What does that mean and what does that consist of? Some of the features that are in the SVOS, or the Storage Virtualization Operating System, you see over here on your right, is external storage virtualization, non-disruptive data migration, global active device, flash performance acceleration, virtual storage machines, the ability to provide data at rest encryption, to thinly provision and dynamically tier your pools of storage, and to provide enterprise class replication and snapshots throughout the product line. The mainframe capability is available only on the G1000. So on the G200 through 800 will be an open systems type of box only. So what does really storage virtualization mean, and how does that differentiate between server virtualization? And the short answer is not really that much when it comes to features and benefits. The features and benefits of virtualization that has been recognized by the server community is the ability to repurpose physical resources and get more out of them, to be able to be dynamic, to be able to be elastic, and to be able to provide a commonality across your platform. VM has provided that. What Hitachi has done with our SVOS operating system is the same kind of approach. So we are virtualizing the storage initially from a ones and zeros standpoint, and we've been doing this for a while. So for example, what you see depicted here is Hitachi arrays over there on the left that can virtualize either Hitachi storage or other legacy storage that you have on your floor that become part of that operating system and part of the capacity captured within the virtualization. So what you have the ability to do there is now you would have, say, legacy storage devices picking up features and functions that are newer than what the arrays were originally designed to do through our virtualization. We can virtualize via iSCSI. We can virtualize via fiber channel. We take that, and that what I just described is what's called data abstraction. Again, ones and zeros captured away from the host array, brought under the control of the virtualizing array. In this case would be our VSP G1000 or G series family. What's really revolutionary here in this approach is taking this virtualization capability one step further and creating what we call virtual storage machines, which are the exact personality of a VM image in a VMware or any other kind of virtualized server. By that, what I mean is you take physical resources. So for example, you take memory, you can take I/O ports, fiber channel and or SCSI, you can take capacity within the array and create virtualized storage machines that never change their personality to the host, that divorce the dependency to the underlying hardware so that all you are presenting to your application environment, to your host environment, is a static, stable, virtualized environment that gives you a lot of opportunity to do things without bringing the host down. Think of migrations, think of upgrades, think of equipment refresh. Think of the ability to provide continuous access to this 24-hour software-defined infrastructure that I've already mentioned, right? So once again, you see there on the top layer, VMware, Microsoft, OpenStack, and other mobile apps that are requiring 24/7 elastic and very flexible environments to operate in. And that's what the advantage of a virtual storage machine does. So we talked about SVOS, which is our storage virtualization operating system. Let's review a little bit about the importance and the benefits of storage virtualization. So we're taking just a half a step back. And what you see here is we've been the leaders of storage virtualization since 1978. And there's a definition, there's a difference between being able to virtualize storage and being able to provide a federated storage environment. A federated storage environment is where you are simply taking LUNs from a host array, presenting them through another array, and they don't pick up any of the functionalities or capabilities of that host array. Virtualization is being able to bring in all of the functionality and all the capabilities of the host controller that's doing the virtualization to legacy storage. Some of these things you see over here onto the left. Create a virtualized pool of storage, being able to centralize day-to-day administration with a single management view, i.e. back to the command suite management software. Being able to do file and or block virtualization, groups on file systems. Being able to enable new features on older storage, which I've hit on here on several points. Another feature of the storage virtualization operating system and the capability throughout our product line is in our Hitachi accelerated flash. Accelerated flash has been out since 2012, and it's Hitachi's proprietary approach to flash storage. SSD today, for the most part, is a commercial grade type of SSD. You have three particular types of SSD on the market. You have enterprise, you have MELC, and you have CMLC, which is the consumer grade that most of your all-flash vendors are using today. What we've done is we've realized that in the flash market and in the SSD market, there's a lot of background tasks and a lot of maintenance that need to happen on the SSD device in order to produce longevity, in order to produce consistent performance and other features. So what we've done with our SSD or our FMD, our flash module drive, is we've developed our proprietary ASIC that you see over here on the right that has the ability to offload all of the features and functionalities that you need to do on an SSD and flash drive. If you don't have an offload engine, then either your array controller or your host has to do these same types of utilities and maintenance functions. And what are some of those things? So for example, the lifeblood and the longevity of a cell-based recording media is the life of that cell. And so you have to be able to, number one, track the number of writes and reads to a cell, because over time they will degrade and you will eventually lose the data that's in that cell. That's the true nature of all SSD and FMD drives. What we do is we have a quad-core Intel processor, or a proprietary processor that's quad-core on our ASIC that does all of these offload tasks. For example, we have a task that's called garbage collection, which is cleaning up the old bits and bytes and getting rid of them. We have cell relocation that monitors how many writes and reads are on a particular cell and will move that data to a fresher cell when it hits a threshold. We have a feature that's called write avoidance. So if we recognize long strings of multiple and consecutive ones and zeros, we will write a bit pattern that will truncate those ones and zeros, i.e. less writes and reads to that cell. Future capabilities of this particular FMD drive coming out will be able to do compression, anywhere from 2 to 8 to 1 times compression within the drive. Again, the compression itself will be done by this offload engine, as well as being able to do parity RAID calculations without traversing the I/O bus. So that's our active flash. Active flash today is in capacities of 1.6 terabytes per drive and 3.2 terabytes per drive. We have 6 terabyte FMD drives coming out today. As that first slide showed you, this has been an adaptive technology that has taken off, and that when you reach a price clip point, our price per gigabyte is lower than SSD. We have a capability to promote and get even more capability out of flash and SSD through our active flash capability. This is known as dynamic tiering, and now active flash. So what active flash has the ability to do, dynamic tiering initially was page-based tiering on 42 megabyte pages that would move I/O based on a heat map based on a time. Usually it was anywhere from 24 hours to 30 minutes. And that process had two particular points to it. It had relocation of the hot pages or cold pages, so you would either promote or demote. And it would also have the ability to do a reclamation or clean up the white space that you've moved your data from. That's dynamic tiering. Active flash takes that one step further, and it's part of dynamic tiering, where instead of it being a 30 minimum clip, you can now do this in subseconds and seconds. So the intent would be if you have quarter-in processing or some type of kind of compute processing that you anticipate is going to be a very, very heavy I/O load, you simply click this active flash button, which is part of our already established tiering policy, and it will promote and demote within subseconds. So now it takes the 42 meg page clip that we have down to bits. And when it reaches a bit clip, it will move that page. So that's active flash. Again, available and capable in all of our VSP G series products. Another capability is the global access device. So remember the talk about being able to provide a virtual storage machine and some of the capabilities of divorcing the hardware from the host. This is one really good example of that in action. Global access device is a global container of writable storage that multiple sites can access at the same time. So you would have two physical arrays in two different locations. They would take a LUN from each array, virtualize it, create a virtual storage machine, and present a dynamic virtual LUN to your hosts, who now only communicate with that LUN. It could be writing or reading locally. It could be writing or reading remotely, right? So now what you have is the capability to do a couple of things. And first and foremost is you really have a truly active environment. So if you're looking for business continuity within a synchronous range of distance, so around 100 miles, you can write to either side without any zero downtime. The second thing that it's going to be able to do is give you a true return point objective or recovery point objective of 0. So think about business continuity, high availability, that's automatic, that doesn't require a failover or a failback. Those are some of the key points to the global access device. We've standardized on our replication capabilities throughout the product line. So previous to this, on our other two families of modular storage, we had different replication programs. We now have the same throughout the product line, which means there's efficiency in the code and efficiency in the way that they run, and also efficiency in licensing. Two of those programs from a local replication standpoint we offer is called Shadow Image. So Shadow Image is the ability to copy full volumes within an array. Hitachi Thin Image is the ability to do snapshot-like capabilities within an array that are space and capacity friendly. From a remote capability, it's called True Copy, which is the ability to replicate within a synchronous distance. Okay, so you wait for the write to happen on the remote array, and it sends back a write acknowledgement to your host. We have what's called Universal Replicator, which is an asynchronous capability that will give an immediate write back to the host on the local side, use a concept that's called journal disking, and instead of pushing to a remote, the remote site will pull and ask for the data. So those are the four types of replication technologies from a data protection standpoint, and factor in the ability to do business continuity with global access device, and you have 0 downtime. So let's talk a little bit more and focus in about what these new products are and some of the features and specifications. And that didn't show up. So the VSP 200 is our entry-level box. It is a 2U controller that has the ability to put up disk enclosures that are also 2U. You could put in the small form factor drives. Each disk enclosure would hold 24 drives. You could put in large form factor disks. So think of 7200 nearline SAS drives. And we have a specific disk enclosure for our flash module drives that is also 2U. We offer a tray that is a 4U dense tray that holds 60 drives that can have the capability to do drive intermix. So you can do 3.5-inch drives in this dense tray, along with certain models of SSD drive and certain models of the 15K 2.5-inch drives in the same tray. The trays that are available on the VSP200 are the same trays that are available on the 400, the 600, and the 800. As you move up the product line on an upgrade path, the 400 is a license upgrade to the 600. So the 400 and 600 have the same controller base. And really what we're doing is we throttle back the G400 as far as the ability to access all of the SAS backplane, for example, or the ability to address all of the DIMM slots within the controller board. And we open those up, which gives you the ability to add more disk, which gives you the ability to add more cache within the system to increase capacity and both performance. The G800, which will be available in August, is sort of our 1.5 enterprise box. And that, again, will scale up to about 6 petabytes of raw capacity. Each one of these models, again, which is important, can be configured in orders as what we call diskless. So in that particular case, for example, let's start with this entry on the VSP200. You can order this without any disks in it, put this in front of your legacy storage, virtualize your storage, and now all of your capacity is bound to the 200, picks up the features of the 200. The same is true throughout the product line. All managed single pane of glass, all running the storage virtualization operating system, and all managed through Hitachi Command Suite. The Command Suite software is the framework that allows you to plug in, take out, enable different features based on what your environment is. On the bottom here, you can see sort of the breadth of the Hitachi product line. We just don't do storage, right? We have blade servers. We have converged systems. We have hyper-converged systems. We offer storage capability through traditional block. We offer storage capability through the file or the NAS protocol. And then what you see off here to your far right is our object-based systems, right? So our content platform and our HDI work hand in hand, and they're sort of an archive type-based platform, okay? You can manage all of that through a single pane of glass called Hitachi Command Suite. And what you see here in the center is some of the services and functions that you can do through Command Suite, such as manage compute. You can manage your unified storage platform. You can manage your content platform. You can do things such as tuning, analyzation, service level agreements, and you'll see some of those other features that are coming up here. The products that we're going to talk about here in the next couple minutes all hook into Command Suite. So again, think of Command Suite as your house frame and these other pieces of software as the rooms within the house. The bundleization of the software is, so on the bottom here is the storage virtualization operating system. And that's the code, again, that's running on all of the G series products. And you see kind of what it does from an operating system perspective. It provides virtualization. It provides the ability to do thin provisioning, to create virtual partitions. It is a provisioning and a configuration operating system. You can do path management, so that means you can either use our multi-path capability or any host multi-path capability. And it has the ability to do server prioritizations, which means you can prioritize your servers based on how you want them to access the backplane for the I/O. Moving up the stack here, sort of giving you the unified picture, is the ability when you put on one of our HNAS heads, which is a gateway type of technology to the G series backend, the ability to do clustering, deduplication, snapshotting, providing storage pools, antivirus support, and also being able to provide an S3 protocol to the cloud. And then what you have kind of on top here, these 4 bundles here, are optional bundles based on what you want to add to the software package. So for example, in our analytics bundle, prior to that, we would call that Tuning Manager, and it's still Tuning Manager today, but it's the ability to gather reporting, a very extensive reporting, to do historical reporting, Right, so that's Tuning Manager, and that's the Analytics bundle. The Mobility bundle consists of the dynamic tiering piece that I spoke of earlier on, including active flash, and the ability to do storage tiering and movement of within the array. The local protection we covered via the snapshotting with thin image or full volume with the shadow image software. And then the remote replication, again, is either true copy for synchronous or universal replicator for asynchronous. What we are introducing new is the Hitachi Infrastructure Director. And what this is a paradigm shift in the way that Hitachi would allow an end user to configure the array. Infrastructure Director is sort of a new paradigm that takes task-based software configuration and turns them into object-based configurations. So it's more of a visual GUI type provisioning and management software. If you are a G2, 4, 6, or 800 only shop, you can run infrastructure directly alone. If you have a mixed environment, then you would run Command Suite with the other bundles and components that I talked about earlier on. So Infrastructure Director is exclusive to the G2, 4, 6, and 8 today. Eventually, this will be the provisioning paradigm going forward. Another piece of automation software that we're introducing with Command Suite is called Automation Director. And this kind of takes the ability to create service-based templates, to create infrastructure-based templates, and based on certain parameters that there are probably 30 to 40 canned templates today within Automation Director. There's the ability to create your own templates for your own environment. And really, a classic example is you've got, for example, maybe 5 terabytes of storage that you want to provision to an Oracle host, right? Instead of trying to study how to lay that storage out, we have a template and a wizard that's already created that takes industry best practices as far as Oracle's concerned and lays out your tables and your logs and creates the disks behind them needed for best performance. Automation Director is going to grow. It's going to pick up the ability to do automated template-based for hyperconverged, for file-based, and for object as well. So that kind of concludes what I wanted to talk about today. Again, the only point that I want to reiterate is by the August timeframe, we will have the full G product line out. There are some other features and things that were included into this presentation that are more technical in nature that we'd love to give the opportunity to deep dive further into. So,
great. Pat, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. I'm going to stay off camera for a second. We do have a couple questions that the folks were given the ability to ask you some questions upon sign up, and we got some great questions here. I'm going to run through them for you because I think you covered a lot of them throughout the presentation. It was a great deep dive, and we really appreciate it. So, but some of the ones we didn't cover, and I'm going to run through them, and maybe you can opine a little bit. The first one is, what is the largest 15K hard drive you have available?
Okay, so we just announced and we have available in the 2.5-inch 15K drive family, 600 gig.
Okay, great.
That goes along with the 300 gig that we've had already.
Good, perfect. Somebody has a question here. How can you increase performance for your VMs?
So Hitachi has a rich history with integrating within VM as far as an API aspect goes. We have what are called adapters that can offload the work and the responsibility that your SX cluster plays within your storage. So for example, we have storage adapters that play into VAAI that once the initial request from the VM cluster is sent to the storage array, we take it over and the SX server doesn't have to be involved in that anymore. All of those kind of adapters help in 2 areas. One is performance, as mentioned. The second is in administration and monitoring.
Perfect. Great. how does Hitachi measure your flash optimized performance?
So we talked about, a little bit I mentioned about the analytics bundle, which is the ability to do historical data capture not only on flash, but on everything that's in the array. You have real-time reporting that's called Performance Monitor that will capture all of the performance characteristics of not only flash, but of SSD that we offer, 15, 10K, and large capacity drives.
Gotcha. We talked a little bit about it. You went into a deep dive on the flash memory, but can flash memory substitute SSD in this situation?
So flash memory is different than flash, as I understand the question.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably two different approaches to where flash lives within a subsystem or within the IT environment. What we've been talking about today is storage side flash. I believe this question is more geared around server side cache or flash, where you would have a PCI card in a server bus that would be an intermediary for I/O. Okay.
Yep.
There's some things that you have to think about in that approach. One is you can't scale these cards. There's no migration off of these cards,
right,
and they're still dependent on the horsepower of the server. So you might want to use those in conjunction with flash module devices on a Hitachi array. You might want to use those in conjunction with SSD. And when we talk about our hyper-converged environment or our UCP server platform, we will offer server-side cache as an option.
Gotcha. Perfect. And then last but not least, does the Hitachi platform support hyper-converged infrastructure?
So it does. The true nature of hyper-converged infrastructure is everything within one box, right? If it's based kind of on the VMware Evo Rail and Evo Rack standard, the Evo Rack standard is a standard where you'll be able to attach external storage and grow in that particular capacity. So yes, we do play in that space.
Perfect. Great. Okay, well, on that note, we really, Pat, we thank you again for your time and coming out and talking about virtualized storage. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. A couple just housekeeping notes. If you want to watch a replay of this, if there's anything you missed, we will be posting this on our website. So stay tuned. We'll send you a link for where you can see that. As well, if for some reason you didn't get your pizza, we're only as good as Domino's is because we partner with them across the land in terms of sending those out. So if not, we do try to get those sent around lunchtime. So if it's early West Coast, they'll be there soon. If not, give us a call and we can make sure you get one. Thanks again, everyone. We appreciate it. Thank you, Pat. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Lennon. I'm the president and CEO of SanDirect. Thank you.